of our dailies. Now, speaking of those, and with me in studio is Isaac Wabuge, governance and political analyst, as well as John Mwaniki, Deputy Governor, Laikipia County. Now, speaking of stories that are making headlines, it's a witch hunt. This is what Ann Waiguru is saying about the EACC summons. Now, the Kirinyaga Governor has found herself in trouble with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission after she was summoned to record a statement regarding proposed payment of a pending bill amounting to 52 million shillings. The pending bill was incurred during the defunct local authorities on the issuance of title deeds on the South Ngariama land in Kirinyaga. According to AiGuru, some top individuals in government are using the agency to taint her name and frustrate her political career. And as Chris Thairu reports, the governor feels that her recent statement regarding BBI and her 2022 plans could have triggered her troubles. Take a look.
Yet again, Kirinyaga Governor Ann Waiguru had a date with detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, this time round to record a statement of a pending bill on the issuance of title deeds that the governor claims she did not initiate.
What they are alleging is that we should not have deliberated on the matter of the issuance of the titles in cabinet. What happened is that the county assembly got requests from the members of public that they needed the matter resolved. The county assembly allocated budgets for the issue and then sent it to the county executive. The county executive took it to cabinet. We deliberated on the matter. We looked from the CC Finance and CC Lands, and we agreed that it is good we give titles, and therefore we should settle the pending bills.
According to AiGuru, the county government has no option but to pay the pending bill amounting to 52 million shillings if the families living on the South Ngarima land were to acquire title deeds.
Legally, those documents can't be found anywhere because they were given that contract by the previous regime, not ours. And they refused to give us the list of the allottees and the maps until we pay the pending bill. So the county assembly approved that pending bill and sent it to the county executive. So the question is that why did we sit in the county executive in cabinet to discuss the matter? They think there's something there.
And now the first-term governor claims that some powerful individuals are using the anti-graft agency to fight her politically.
I think, as I said, this is just an issue of harassment. It is intimidation. It is political. And they wanted this picture of you people here and me here because of politics.
Who's they?
The same people who are behind my impeachment.
It is not the first time that Waiguru has been summoned at the EACC to record a statement over claims of misappropriation of funds during her reign. Last year, detectives from the EACC raided her homes in Nairobi and Kirinyaga, as well as her offices, with officers looking for some documents that may connect her to abuse of office.
They're the ones playing to the gallery, not us. How many other governors have you seen being called here? Why don't they call? They have very many active investigations everywhere. Why would they call me and not the assembly here? Or call whoever was the person who actually gave that contract? Because the contract wasn't given this year. It was given way back in 2006 and was executed up to 2010, even by the previous government. Why haven't they called them and then called the media? Who is playing to the gallery?
EACC is also conducting investigations into allegations that the governor and other county officials were irregularly paid travel allowances of approximately 23 million shillings. However, she has never been arraigned in court over the graft issues in Kirinyaga. Other governors who have been investigated and arraigned include Migori Governor Okoth Obado, Samburu's Moses Lennon Kural, Tharaka Nithi's Muthomi Njuki, Busia Governor Sospita Ojamong, his Garissa counterpart Governor Ali Korane, as well as the two impeached former governors, Nairobi Mike Sonko and his former Kiambu colleague Ferdinand Waititu. Chris Dairo, KTN News.
Thank you, Chris, for that one. And as Chris Thairu has put it, there are many other governors that have actually been brought before the EACC to answer questions about some activity that has been deemed dubious or suspected to be corrupt dealings within their jurisdiction. Now, but this particular governor, Ann Waiguru, says there is a foul play. She feels like they're playing to the gallery, and this is a political witch hunt because of what she has said to the BBI, and it's just a ploy to ensure that she has a bit of bad publicity. Honorable Mwaniki, do you agree?
You know, it's very unfortunate that EACC, a body that is duly established under the Constitution of Kenya and the Act of Parliament, to deal with the issue of corruption in this country, has resorted itself or resigned to being used as a political tool to settle scores. If you look at the many governors who have been mentioned as having matters there, I think that today, if EACC calls anybody, the Kenyan people are least interested because they have come to realize that other than being called to EACC, a couple of media briefs there, here and there, a few reports, 1 week headline, then that's the matter left there. Meanwhile, nobody explains where these public funds went to. We have not found any governor who has been, convicted and told now you have to return X amount of money. Now, EACC would better rise above this pettiness and deal with matters. I have not heard anybody who has been, arrested because of traffic offense, and then media is buzzed there. This is drama, for all that you can call it. And it is not necessary. By the way, trying to force people to a certain political inclination by subjecting them to intimidation will not pay, because Governor AiGuru, in my opinion, has one vote. Right. And the one vote will not be able to campaign for candidate Y or X. The people of Kirinyaga are the ones that you need to go and talk to. So if indeed what the governor alleges is true, that she's being intimidated and subjected to bad publicity just because she has taken a different view from the people who, quote unquote, says were behind her impeachment motion, then I think it is very unfortunate. It is the lowest that the EACC can get into. In fact, I pity the officers who work in EACC, because I believe they are people, the officers of integrity, and they have a professional angle into how they do their job. Right. Now, what we need to do, in my opinion, is that we need to divorce politics and EACC job. And until we get to that point... Is that even possible? Yes, it is possible. I mean, where we have been able, we have seen lately the judiciary has come out strongly and told the executive off that you're not going to use us to settle your own scores. We have seen the DPP decline, say, no, we are not going to take that person before court because there's no evidence. What you're talking about is just drama and rubbish. So I think EACC should be able to say, no, this doesn't warrant us to call the governor. I feel, from my knowledge about how the county works, I fail to understand why Governor AiGuru is being summoned to EACC because of a pending bill. And a pending bill is a liability to the county. Right. And I would have been more interested if they are saying she's been called to write a statement about money that were paid out irregularly. Because of either there was improper procurement procedures or improper, sort of payment procedures. But this is a pending bill. And then, on the other hand, the CS for Treasury has threatened severally that he's going to withhold, equitable share to counties that have pending bills. So it puts us in a bit of a quagmire that if you pay a pending bill, then you end up at EACC. Yeah. And votes will not be won using EACC. Like I said, IBC will not take anybody to State House. It is the voters of this country that will take you to State House. So you go talk to the voters, stop intimidation. It is not going to work. Okay. Let people have their choices as and the way they feel, without having to look behind their back that who is following me, am I being listened to? Because at the end of the day, even Waiguru may not vote. Because of that intimidation per se, and just try to keep quiet. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that the candidate of choice of whoever is behind our tribulations will go to State House.
There are no guarantees. Now, there has been speculations, this is what she said, that we are leaning towards Raila Odinga. That is not true. In fact, we are doing consultations so that whoever we think will articulate our issues is the one we will back. And she, of course, we heard in that report saying the people who are behind her impeachment are the same people who are behind this particular situation that she is facing right now and being put in the paper for. Mr. Wabuge, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I think until the day office bearers in Kenya will acknowledge the fact that they hold this office in trust for Kenyans and it's not their personal property,
yes,
then we'll be able to really live according to the spirit and the letter of the 2010 Constitution. When independent bodies come up and summon people, why do we always bring in the political angle in it? The EACC is an independent body duly constituted under the Constitution with its mandate clearly spelled out. So if you're a public officer and there's something that the EACC wants your clarity on, you just need to be of courage enough, face it and explain the situation. If you are on the other side of it, then let the legal process take over. But then these stories of using politics and such as scapegoats to run away from the issues at hand is not going to take us anywhere. The money in question is taxpayers' money, and every Kenyan is struggling to pay tax out here. So if you have if an inquiry has to be done on you by EACC, just oblige. This issue of them pushing BBI here, BBI there, political witch hunt, political competitors, it's neither here nor there. It's far-fetched. Why? If AiGuru is currently right now blaming the BBI for his woes with EACC, in the public gallery, when he got off the hook on the impeachment, again, the same people said he survived because of BBI and stuff and where he has positioned himself. So you see, this thing is just looking for a scapegoat on how to evade what is happening. The fact is that we have devolved corruption in the counties. The corruption going on in the counties in Kenya is way in excess. In fact, I think we have just concentrated so much on the corruption going on in the national government, but the moment we will zero down to what is happening at the counties, it is quite unfortunate. So if the bodies that are mandated to investigate such things are doing their job, it's a high time the leadership of this country accept that they are holding those positions in trust and let the due process happen.
Yes.
Because if at all this is going to be the trend, year in, year out, anytime somebody has issues, corruption, allegation in your county, you run to either tribal inclination so that, you know, your tribe can cleanse you. You run to your political inclination so that one can cover you. We are losing this war.
Now, there's a statement Honorable Mwaniki made earlier on about the possibility of extricating politics from the EACC. How possible do you think that is? Because to me, that would mean seeing more prosecutions of those who are found guilty, and of course, an end to these allegations of EACC being used to just, you know, carry out political vendetta and agendas that are outside their mandate. Do you think that's possible?
You know, I think we made a mistake by saying that EACC, first of all, how did we get there? When we had the Anti-Corruption Commission earlier on, the argument was that they are toothless bulldogs. They can't bite, they can't take you to court because they have to process you, hand over you to the prosecution arm, who then decides whether they're going to prosecute you or not.
Sure.
Now that we give them powers to investigate and prosecute, now they are being manipulated or used to settle political scores. Maybe then we should review back and say, how then do we ensure we divorce these two? Should we then ensure that the persons in charge of EACC has sort of a mandate from the people of Kenya, because then it looks like they are appointing authority. At the end of the day, they have to remind them that we appointed you. Look at how do we appoint the EACC CEO. It goes to Parliament. So the same parliamentarians who vetted and allowed the guy to have a job, then he can't go back to them and say, you know what, I'm going to arrest you. And that's where we have one big problem in this country.
Conflict of interest.
Your employer then becomes your client for investigation.
Okay.
Now, the issue of politics will continue being there. But then we must wake up and say, as a people, play politics outside EACC. Just like we keep saying, play politics outside healthcare, play politics outside judiciary. Now, we've had the attempt in terms of trying to say that anybody who has a matter before EACC is sorted out quickly within 12 months, that case should have been concluded. And maybe that will be able to restore confidence to the people that if then this governor goes to EACC, we expect within this period of time to be told what became of that investigation. Because right now, we have investigations of 4 or 5 years ago that are still open. We don't know whether the governor was acquitted. We don't know whether they were going to be taken to court. We don't know what is happening. Then we have another governor coming in, or we have another a political office holder, and the circus continues. So, I mean, we had the former CS for Treasury, Rotich, and the PS Duge. Where are they now? Where is that matter?
Yeah.
It's now going to 3 years after. And we don't know what became of that issue. So I think the timelines is what can help us fix this, so that then you know, if I take your file as an EACC officer, then within 12 months, I must be accountable to the people of Kenya and say, this file that we opened on September 8th, by exactly August 8th, we must conclude it.
Right.
So then you stop being used around to intimidate people.
Okay, yes.
Maybe just to add on it, I think also the biggest issue is sometimes that we got an extremely progressive constitution. As we have rightly put it, this is among the most progressive constitutions, not in the African continent, but globally.
Worldwide, yeah.
No, now, for me, it was what was needed is that the 2010 constitution will have heralded as a scenario of a new wine in new wineskin. But the case of a new wine in old wineskin is where the challenge is.
Okay.
We are having a crop of leaders who have been there since time immemorial, who never knew, who cannot, accept and appreciate the new era or the new order that the new constitution has brought in place. And that's why you see it's always about fighting structures. It's all about trying to intimidate structures that are there. Until we are able to appreciate that this constitution has given us structures, and for once, let us try and see how can a structure work efficiently, end to end. Because the issue is that in Kenya, even the generation that some of us are in, we have never appreciated a structure or anything that can work seamlessly from one step to the other.
Right.
There has always been interference from this quarter or that quarter. So with a constitution that has brought in structures, independent institutions into this constitution, until we get the right leaders who will be able to live with the rule of law, appreciate and respect the institutions that are in that constitution and the structures therein, that is when we will start realizing some of these fruits of the constitution.
Yeah.
And the issue that the deputy governor has highlighted in terms of the time frame, I think this is maybe the waterloo of this situation, whereby we don't have timelines. And maybe going forward, if an opportunity will ever arise, because the fact will remain that it will be Kenyans who will hold these offices. These Kenyans have tribes. These Kenyans are aligned to a particular region. So unless we are talking of bringing foreigners to head these institutions so that we can have confidence in them, then maybe it will be a different ball game altogether. But as long as things are, we need to start appreciating, looking beyond the tribe that is of this person, looking beyond the stature of this person, but appreciating that we have a structure, we have independent bodies as enshrined in the Constitution, and we need to respect them and give them a chance to work as per the Constitution.
Okay, now let's move on to another story before we wind up this review of what the week has brought us. ODM leader Raila Odinga intensified his campaign for the top office by meeting the Nairobi business community. Raila used the opportunity to urge the executive and parliament to come up with laws and policies that will enable small businesses to thrive. Raila was accompanied by a host of ODM MPs who stated that the party had embarked on a Meet the People drive aimed at strengthening grassroots support.
Standardization is not supposed to be used to punish businesses. Standardization is supposed to deal with quality and enhance quality, and then also protect people against harmful goods. But there's goods which may be of low quality and are not harmful to anybody. And if somebody wants to buy something which is of low quality, that's what he can afford, why do you deny him or her that opportunity to do so? We need clear policies to ensure financial support and fair competition for SMEs. We need to enforce legislation on the local content for public projects.
Our resolve is to now pitch tent in Nairobi. You know, Nairobi is our stronghold. And we are making sure that we establish our grassroots support. We energize it and make sure that they start campaigning for the party and also start positioning the parties for the coming polls the next year.
Okay, and in the Daily Nation this morning, we're told Wanjigi takes on ODM over grassroots polls. ODM presidential aspirant Jimmy Wanjigi has protested against the party's decision to use census to pick its branch officials, terming it undemocratic. Also on that, the Orange Party is seeking a 2022 poll deal with Munya-linked PNU. The ODM party has started an official coalition talks with the party, and the paper tells us that it's bringing back memories of that coalition that followed the 2007-2008 post-poll violence. So ODM has clearly been busy, first of all, trying to marshal support from the business community, and of course, what's happening at the grassroots level, and obviously the PNU possible deal. What do you make of that, and perhaps what would this do for their campaign as they move towards the 2022 elections? Mr. Honorable Mwaniki.
Well, I think I like the idea that Raila Odinga is speaking about policies that are the foundation of the SME.
Yes.
Because SMEs are the biggest job creators in this economy. And in that forum there were yesterday, there was good news to the SMEs that there is zero interest loans, which means it's a way of economic recovery.
Okay.
And let's give Raila credit because he understands policy, and he knows that unless you have sound policies, then the rest remains just political talk. And the policy implementers or the policy designers are within the government itself. So there's nothing stops those policies from being implemented now. What I have an issue is where policies are being postponed until after 2022. And I liked what he said. Let's deal with cabs, for example. That if you want to buy a second-hand item and it's not harmful, cabs should just be left to deal with saying this good is not harmful for human consumption.
Yes.
The rest of it, let it be a choice in the market, whether you want to go for a Mutumba piece of attire or you want to go for a new piece of attire, because that then informs your capacity in terms of economic power. I think the issue of ODM putting its house in order, it is expected because they are seeking power in the next cycle of election. And as a political party that has withstood several election cycles, I think ODM is perhaps the oldest party, say for Kadu, that has been able to withstand. It hasn't died with an election period. We have seen parties come and go with the presidential candidates. So we don't know whether when ODM later steps down, ODM will also cease to exist, but it looks like it has well-grounded structure.
Yeah.
The issue of minor Wanjigi and trying to challenge ODM.
Calling it undemocratic, using censors to...
I don't know what is the unfolding. I need a bit of time to understand what is because I'm not a member of ODM, so I can only speculate what is happening there. I need to but clearly, it's a season. It's that season of trying to get space for yourself, and that's what explains why ODM and PNU have open talks. And I think that brings very good memories, because we know that during the Kibaki era, when they had the Grand Coalition, a lot of things were done. We had very little corruption in government, and I think maybe there's an element of an opportunity there to say that these two parties and can be able to work together. But the bigger picture is not even the two parties. I think the bigger picture is that there must be coalitions. there must be pre-election coalitions in this country. You cannot win the election alone. And even Oka, these Mount Kenya political parties that are coming together, the ODMs, even the other one of the UDA of William Ruto. I think anybody who thinks that they can win power on their own, they are a bit misguided. Their numbers are either not correct or they are just bumped up numbers. But let's see how the game unfolds. We keep saying that every week in this country, in the season we are in, new things will happen. So we do expect that ODM and PNU, perhaps they will announce and tell us what it is that they're discussing. Are they discussing Mount Kenya? Are they discussing national? Are they discussing, a coalition of two parties that is going to bring back the good memories of the Kibaki presidency? So let's give them a bit of another 1 week, and then a lot of things will unfold. But we do encourage them to go ahead and have open talks. Even those 9 political parties and others that are in Mount Kenya that are coming together to have their conversation this weekend, we do encourage it to happen, because in a way, we are bringing the Kenyan people together.
Right.
And anything that can stop us from having a fallout,
yes,
it will be very welcome and encouraged.
Okay. Mr. Wabuge, briefly on that.
Maybe the current happenings on the political landscape, it's giving us some exciting moments for how the next election will be. For the longest, we have always really wished that when will it happen, a day that will stop going into the boardroom and asking how much is your tribe bringing, how you are the kingpin of this tribe, to an element whereby we'll start crisscrossing the entire of Kenya, engaging different political players, engaging different forums, different institutions, and selling your idea. I love the idea of policy conversation going on in the country right now on all the political engagement across the field.
Yes.
From Raila's side, we are seeing him engaging SMEs. We have seen him traverse the
Unfortunately,
entire
Mr. Wabuge, unfortunately, we seem to have a problem with your microphone, so you'll have to hold that thought. But we are anticipating a bit of unfolding news here on Morning Express. This morning, we are expecting Kenya and Estonia to defend multilateralism on the global scale, global stage, and President Uhuru Kenyatta shall be receiving visiting Estonian leader Kersti Kaljulaid, and of course we'll have those pictures for you shortly as that transpires. And of course our sister station Spice FM shall also be having a special interview later on, whereby we shall have Her Excellency the President Kersti Kaljulaid here on the premises, and of course on the Situation Room, and we shall be crossing over and listening in into that particular conversation. Later on, we shall be crossing over to Spice FM, where Her Excellency President Kersti Kaljulaid shall be with us to talk about Kenya-Estonian relationships and of course find out the very latest in that bilateral relationship and what the way forward is for those two, and perhaps how we can have mutual beneficial interactions between Kenya and Estonia. And we shall be seeing those pictures of her arrival shortly at the premises at here on Mombasa Road, Standard Media Group headquarters. We shall have that as the backdrop for that is that the President Uhuru Kenyatta and visiting Estonian leader Kersti Kaljulaid have said Kenya and Estonia will partner in championing for the protection of multilateralism on the global stage. They said the system guarantees fairness and justice in the global stage, and vowed to use the two countries' non-permanent membership of the UN Security Council to jointly advance multilateralism. The President Kenyatta and his guest spoke on Thursday on this, but of course later on we shall have her here on the premises at the headquarters of the Standard Media Group at our sister station Spice FM, whereby she will be speaking with CT Muga and the crew there to find out where Kenya and Estonia is, and we shall be crossing over live to listen in onto that conversation in the Situation Room. That is a conversation that you shall be privy to later on here on Morning Express. And of course, far from the conversation we are having here, we also have lined up for you entertainment with Brian Eseli, who shall be bringing us the very latest latest in the entertainment and some interesting music and interviews. But keep an eye out for that very, very crucial conversation on the Situation Room that we shall be crossing over to later on, whereby we shall be listening into the President of Estonia, who shall be here on the premises, and she shall be briefing us on the very latest in Kenya-Estonia relations and the biggest issue right now between those two that they two countries have chosen to champion is multilateralism, and that is a discussion that was heard earlier on with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and Kenya and Estonia have agreed to champion that on the global stage. You're watching Morning Express. Thank you so much for making the time to tune in. With us in studio this morning has been Isaac Wabuge, who's a governance and political analyst, as well as John Waniki, who's a deputy governor for Laikipia County. They have been helping us dig deeper into the papers and the very latest in politics and current affairs, and we have been taking a look at a slew of stories. The biggest this morning has been the report of the 2021 economic survey that indicated that we have lost lots of jobs, and of course that is a story you can also read up on today's paper, The Standard. We're being told about the good, the bad and the ugly of a pandemic year. Grab yourself a copy of The Standard newspaper. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, all that I have promised for you and more coming up. Do stay tuned.